Brandon Lee went down in history as the only son of the legendary actor Bruce Lee, who tried to follow in his father's footsteps on the big screen. He was attractive and talented, and although martial arts weren't his passion, he had amazing skills just like his father. Unfortunately, he met his father's fate when he died accidentally on a filming set when he was only 28. Our CurioSips team found everything you want to know about the life of Brandon Lee, son of Bruce Lee. Brandon Lee was born in 1965, a year after the wedding of his parents, college professor Linda Emery and Bruce Lee. As soon as Brandon learned how to walk, his father started teaching him martial arts. The first thing Bruce showed him was simply how to kick. By the age of 6, young Brandon could break a board with his own legs. His father's passion for martial arts influenced Brandon's whole life. From a young age, he watched various celebrities come into their backyard to train, and he couldn't stop watching them. He met figures like Chuck Norris and the basketball player Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, among others. Brandon's friends were afraid to visit him when he was too aggressive at home. When Bruce Lee died in Hong Kong in 1973, Brandon's mother took Shannon, their 3-year-old daughter, and Brandon, 8, to the United States. And finally, they settled in California. Since then, the media hasn't stopped talking about the mysterious death of Bruce Lee, linking it to the Chinese mafia, voodoo, and various narcotic substances. This wasn't helping Brandon to overcome the loss of his father at all. For the following years, the young Lee stopped training martial arts because the memories of his father were still too fresh. In addition, he refused to follow his father's path of the Jeet Kune Do, the martial art created by Bruce. However, Brandon was very similar to his father, and during his adolescence, he was even expelled from 2 schools. On the other hand, Brandon was also a protective brother, and he took care of his sister Shannon and was a good example for her. Once, Shannon, who was 4 years younger than him, got into trouble because she ran away from home and drove a car without a license. Brandon was super understanding but asked her to be more careful. Brandon's friends remember him as a young, funny guy with an outstanding level of energy and with a single dream to become an actor. But Brandon's ambition was to be a drama actor, not to be like Stallone or Schwarzenegger. Finally, at age 17, he left school and began his career as an actor. At the age of 20, he got a small role in the TV movie Kung Fu: The Movie in 1985. And the following year, he starred in a Chinese film, Legacy of Rage. In both projects, he demonstrated a natural talent for martial arts and acting. After that, he started receiving many other offers. At first, despite his charisma, he was only recognized for action movies. Being the son of Bruce Lee had also left its mark. For that reason, his manager, Jan McCormack, said that it was time to let go of the past and move forward. Brandon asked his mother for a word of advice, and she told him that Bruce would be proud to see his son shining on the big screen. In this way, Brandon agreed to honor the legacy of Bruce Lee and returned to training martial arts. Brandon didn't plan on sticking to the field that made his father famous. In CurioSips, we are convinced that if he hadn't passed away, he would have surely become a movie star like Johnny Depp or Brad Pitt. Brandon finally debuted in Hollywood with films like Showdown in Little Tokyo, 1991, and Rapid Fire in 1992. And at that time, he was offered to play his father in the documentary Dragon, the Bruce Lee story. However, Brandon refused the role as he still wasn't ready. The director Alex Proyas asked him for the role in The Crow, a film that was released in 1993, but Brandon never got to see it finished. The Crow was the story of a rock star who had been murdered by a band of criminals and was brought back to life for revenge. The filming of this project was tough because almost the entire film was shot at night during the rain and in freezing temperatures. To make things worse, Brandon was almost always topless. During the whole process of filming, the crew was facing difficulties until the worst happened. In one of the last scenes, Brandon had to take the bullets from one of the villains played by actor Michael Massey. Unfortunately, the gun still had an empty cartridge bullet inside, which was previously used to film close shots of the weapon. The oversight of the technicians ended Brandon's life in a few hours. Brandon died on March 31st, 1993. He had been engaged to his girlfriend Eliza Hutton for 1 year, and they were planning to marry in Mexico on April 17th of that same year. The film was a success, and the character played by Brandon received recognition from the public and critics. But the most unfortunate thing is that Brandon died in the same way as the character played by his father in the film Game of Death, by an accidental shot. What do you think about the unfortunate fate of Brandon Lee? Do you think that it was the curse of his father or just a coincidence? Our CurioSips team will be glad to read all your comments, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. See you next time.